Coming to you live from the Silicon Square in East Legon, Accra. Welcome to MX24 News. My name is Marie-France Fojo. Coming up, second year JHS and senior high school students return to school today. We'll bring you updates on that story. Also, private schools demand immediate payment of stimulus packages from government. And hundreds rendered homeless in Tamale after a heavy downpour in the early hours of today. We will also go to Nkonyatayi in the OT region where erosion is wreaking havoc. Now to our first story, second year junior high and senior high school students resume academic work today after a 7-month hiatus due to COVID-19 pandemic. This is to enable them complete their third and second semesters respectively, slated for December 14. In the midst of the pandemic, the Ghana Education Service has assured that adequate measures have been instituted to curtail the contracting and spread of the virus, including the provision of personal protective equipment. The MX24 team earlier visited some schools across the country to ascertain their preparedness. There's more in the following report.
After months of staying at home due to COVID-19, second-year junior and senior high school students are returning to school today. Ghana Education expected ahead of the reopening, adding that personal protective equipment have been distributed to all schools. Assistant Headmaster of Presbyterian Boys Secondary School, Emmanuel Achimvi, confirmed to MX24 News that they have received enough PPEs. For Presec Legon, each student received 2 reusable nose masks and a hand sanitizer.
In the first place, we ensure that they are wearing their face masks before entering, and as they come, we guide them to go through the hand washing system, as you can see, the Veronica buckets and everything. Then from there, they form a queue, observing the social distancing to the registration point, where we check their names, because we have a list of those we are expecting. We check their temperature, and then they are given their PPEs. Then from there, they are given a cheat that will allow them entry into the boarding houses. So we have been supplied with our adequate PPEs.
So there's been no concerns at all when it comes to...
No, there's no concern. You can see, we've received all our supplies.
However, the case is different for students of the University of Ghana Basic School. According to the Deputy Headmistress, Christiana Ama, the school has not yet received any PPE.
With the Form 3s coming in, government delivered some PPEs to the school. We have been informed by our CS and the municipal director that the PPEs will come. We are very confident that it would come, because we had it for the Form 3s, we had it for the BEC, and it's sure to, maybe today. But we still have some stuff that we are using as a school, so we have everything on the ground. So everybody is in a mask, everybody has hand sanitizers, etc. We have our Veronica buckets, as you can see, we have tissues they are using. So we would use this until government supplies what it has to.
On the reopening of schools, policy research and advocacy group Africa Education Watch had been pushing for a suspension of the reopening. Kofi Asari is the group's executive, and he joins us via Zoom. Hello, Mr. Asari.
Hi, good morning and good morning to your viewers.
Good morning to welcome to MX24 News. So you had been pushing for this reopening to be suspended to a later date, but as it stands, school has reopened today. What's your comment on that?
Not necessarily. We are not pushing for a suspension of the reopening. All we did was that, coming from the back of the disturbances by the protectionist groups in the Volta region, we raised issue with GES that if it is necessary, we shouldn't rush and reopen schools in that region until adequate security measures have been put in place, because of the disturbances, the back-to-back disturbances that occasioned that region in the past week. In a discussion with the GES Director General indicated to me that they were going to meet the security agencies and then review the situation, review their approach, and also take a decision on the basis of the intervention being made to have security on one side, the educational needs of the children on the other hand. And the collective decision will be taken in the interest of both teachers and then students. And so we can only assume with the decision to go ahead and open schools, the whole adequate security has been put in place by government in the Volta region.
Okay. Given today's development, has your team been to some schools to make sure that indeed adequate measures have been put in place? And if so, are you satisfied with that?
We have been monitoring from yesterday. Yesterday, close of business, schools in the Upper East region, Brown Hartford region, in Greater Accra, in Eastern region, Volta region, many schools we engaged were yet to receive their PPEs. And we are a bit worried in the sense that, honestly, at this point, we shouldn't.
That was the executive director.
Discussing issues with company.
Yourself. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah, so we monitored from schools in 5 regions and realized that PPEs were yet to get there. And so we are a bit worried because in the last reopening, our research indicated that 49% of schools received their PPEs after the reopening. PPEs are supposed to arrive at the school before reopening. And so we were of the opinion that having engaged the JHS and the Ministry of Education on the outcome of that report, they would have put in place measures to ensure that we decentralize the procurement of PPE and also make the distribution of same efficient. Unfortunately, we haven't learned our lessons and we are still having the same issue of delayed supply of PPEs to school. We can only hope that in the coming days, PPEs will be available for all schools. But then we want to welcome more children back to school. It's exciting to be back in school because of the learning loss that have been occasioned by about 8 months of closure. I mean, between March and now, about 6 months of closure of schools. And so we are optimistic that the students and the teachers will make ample use of this period to catch up for the learning loss and prepare them for the next academic year.
And before I let you go, can you share with me these 5 regions you mentioned?
Yeah, in the Upper East region, in Upper East, Volta region, Eastern region, Greater Accra, schools like Accra High, I mean, lots of schools here to receive their PPEs, and then also in the Volta region, we spoke to a lot of senior high schools yesterday, they were here to receive them. Even in Central region, we realized that the PPEs have arrived, but they are actually at the respective district education offices. And so if you are in Central region and let's say you are in a district called Kifuhimailwa, the headmaster will have to travel from where the school is, maybe in a community court in Tirishe, all the way to the district education office to go and pick up the PPEs. That's what we wanted to avoid, because the issue is not about PPEs arriving in the districts. It's about PPEs arriving in the schools before reopening. And so we need to make progress in the distribution of PPEs such that the contractors who are engaged to supply PPEs supply them to the schools directly. Other than that, if they get looked up in the district education office and it doesn't get to the school, it still makes no difference. That is why I want to emphasize that let the supplies go directly to the school rather than leaving them at the district education office for school heads to move all the way from their villages to the district capital.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Sari. That's the Executive Director of the Africa Education Watch, Dr. Kweku Asare. And still on education, the Ghana National Council of Private Schools is asking government to, as a matter of urgency, pay their stimulus packages. Executive Secretary of the Council, Enoch Jetwa, has been speaking to MX24 News.
On the 16th of March, the President of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, closed down schools, including the private schools, which we adhere to that. Since then, there has been some stimulus package and support the government wants to give it to the private schools. And as we speak now, the private schools have not been able to get their money, NDSSI loans and other support that government promised to give it to the private schools. And you know that today is the day, the second year of our students are going to school. A lot of issues are happening, and then there is a need for us to call for this media encounter and brief the whole nation and the whole world what is really pertaining in the private educational space.
Now, let's cross over to UPS, where my colleague, Ifwa Evans Shinri, covered that press conference. Hello, Ifwa.
Hello, Mary.
Thank you for joining us. Can you give me any more updates on that press conference? Did government, first of all, give them any timelines in the payment of these stimulus packages?
At this just ended press conference by the Ghana National Council of Private Schools, they asked a number of demands from government with regards to their stimulus packages. I have someone of NACOPS to tell us more. But Sammy, you raised a number of concerns. Can you tell us some of them?
Yes, this journey, it has been a very long one since we embarked on it. It all started in May when the government came out with the intervention that it is going to give loans, that is soft loans, to private businesses in the country as a result of coronavirus, of which private schools we were also included. And the government planned on doing that through NBSSI, an agency under the Ministry of Trade and Industry in the country, headed by Executive Secretary Mrs. Kusiani. Any other thing that we have to done on our part, we have done that. When you talk about documentation, yes, we have had series of meetings, everything with them, and they assured us that on the second week of what we call September, monies will be disbursed. And as we speak now, monies have not been disbursed.
As I was telling you, they are complaining that there's a problem with
that we will say is just misconstrued information being used by NBSSI to buy time, because from our members, everything indicates that they have valid information being provided to NBSSI, of which the way has been paved for us to get the money, and we don't see why they are using all these stories to buy time and then to shift their attention to it, the fact that we don't have valid information with our bank accounts and other things. Whereas we have some of our members that they have received 1% of the money requested for. And our problem lies with the fact that they sent us text messages approving that the request for the loan has been approved, indicating that our members were going to get the money. So why don't you come back and tell us that you are having challenges with our bank accounts and other things? It is not true, and it must be disregarded. Now, what we want to say is that it is very clear and emphatic. I think NBSSI needs attention. We have given the attention to them for quite a long time, and we are not doing that. From now, if they are going to give us the money, we are okay with it. But if they are not going to give us the money, and they will come out with all these misconstrued information about the council and our members, we will stay cool with it. We will not come out and then talk about it again.
The situation is very bad.
Thank you very much, Ifwa. Now to some rather unfortunate news. Hundreds of Tamale residents in the northern region have been rendered homeless following a heavy downpour in the area. Affected persons are counting their losses and also appealing to authorities to come to their aid. Some of them spoke to MX24 News.
It's a very bad situation, very, very bad feeling. We've lost all our properties, our Fijis, including our documents. But what happens is that we have a very short gutter that is supposed to start from our house, to continue from our house to the main road, and it has been truncated from our house. So when the water comes, it flows directly from the road into our homes. Instead of it flowing into the gutter, there is no gutter because the gutter has not been constructed. It ended at a house just closer to ours. So that is why we are in this situation. And so we don't even know what to do now. I've not had any casualty so far. But we don't even have a place to lay our heads. Possibly we'll still have to look at that after doing away with this water. We don't know where to lay our heads at this moment.
I think the rain started around 12 to 1 thereabouts. And I couldn't come to the house. And on my way around the Garba Lodge there, cars could not move because that place was flooded. So I was there when I received a call that my house got flooded. So
I had to wait there for some time. And after the rain has subsided a bit, I dashed to the house, and really the damage in the house, the whole compound is devastating. Everything in the house is soaked, including my documents, my school documents as well. I'm the headmaster of St. Monica's JHS. And because of the COVID, because of certain things, I had to bring some documents to work in the house. So everything has been soaked. And it's really, they are just battling to scoop the water out of the rooms. And as at now, it's still drizzling, it's still raining. And we don't even know where we are going to sleep as at now.
We lost our documents a lot. When you enter the room, everything is spoiled. Everything is spoiled. You can see what we are doing. Today, as of now, we don't know where we are going to sleep. All our things are spoiled. Our documents, everything is spoiled. And now we don't know what to do.
Meanwhile, residents of Nkonya in the Biakuya district of the OT region are appealing to government and non-government organizations to help them check erosion in the area. Some of them have also been speaking to MX24 News.
We here in Nkonya right now, we need our drainage systems to be addressed. Because of the heavy rains recently, some buildings are collapsing. In addition to that, we want the road from Nkonya Secondary School to Nkonya to be also addressed. Possibly it should be tied. That is two of our best wishes in town now. I'm a former assembly member. I started some of these things, and my predecessors are continuing. I have not been able to finish so we want government to come assist us.
We are calling on the government and other NGOs to award this road to the contract so that TAI can also stop the erosion that is affecting by removing the sounds and others around the houses, which have made most of the houses hanging in air. So we are still appealing or inviting NGOs and the government.
Those were some residents of Nkonya in the OT region asking for support in checking erosion in the area. When we return, we have more stories for you. Do stay.
Shop online, get free swipes, and enjoy greater security with a card that turns banking on its head. That's Africanacity. That's ABSA.
Take the good with the bad. Live the life you wanna have. Send it off with the pen. It's looking really good.
They'll go with the 4-4-2 diamond formation.
Bad form. They will feel the pressure.
The home sides kept 2 clean sheets in a row.
It's all about momentum.
Who will have the stamina to last the 90 minutes?
The star striker is suspended.
They've got no kappa.
The marking will be tight.
This will be won or lost in the midfield.
This is why I bet.
This is why I bet.
This is why I bet. Betway, for the love of the game.
You're welcome back. Now, the open endorsement of political actors by some chiefs in the country is intensifying by the day as the December 7 polls approach. From high-profile traditional leaders, including the Ochehene and the Asantehene, to less fancied ones in obscure parts of the country, as the chiefs, for whatever reason, seem to be endorsing each other by declaring support for either of the 2 main political parties, a clear breach of the 1992 Constitution. Let's take a look at the Ochehene's open campaign for President Akufo-Addo, as well as the Mehamehene support for former President John Dramani Mahama.
Yeah. Or see what Jumanti Santima Bakai. Yeah. Yansu. Yeah. Orabia, your friend of Lucky Mensa. Yeah. Nijumbi. Yeah. Osana. Twasu. Yeah. Nana. Twasu. Yeah. Twasu. Yeah. Nama ifia nine. Yeah. Na ifia na okwatra munua ohwe aso yie no. Yeah. Yansa ma untra mu bio. Yeah. Na wa hanne. Yeah. Na wa ba. Yeah. Se ochini. Yeah. Na Ghana ni. Yeah. Na okojina baby ya to aba. Yeah. Na obi eni ho. Yeah. Na wo. What year this and Ubako school? What year this from a papa bo? What year this and that's all? Now to a ba. No one to know by year. Yeah. We are changing out to our titanium. Even I can't look at me Sandy. Yeah. Osana to us. Yeah. I'm a quay me then cremu. Yeah. Osana okay. Yeah. Obafe. Yeah. I can't onyo fe. Yeah. Ofe. Yeah. I'm an ofe chon. Abba.
Samubaha, maybe I am to make from me a fita. Fita, Abano, Ahintano, 1 year. Mampanido, Mamma dear, baby, Okobiam, Yanagro, Abano, as I'm a 4 to a manavi, a man of Tamanavi. Media, a cray, the bien one is for any Mayan. You were chip compound on the maternity home. The Munia Condada and Yenuye, and so and Twasso. Name so baby, dear. Chip compound, maternity home, no man.
The NDC is, however, not enthused about this development, which contravenes the Constitution and has sent a word of caution to chiefs engaged in such activities. MP for Yagaba Kubori Abdul Rauf Tanko at a Deba over the weekend said the party will not recognize chiefs who declare support for President Akufo-Addo or the NDC.
People parading themselves as messengers from the Nairi, telling we the electors in this constituency never to disgrace the Nairi, nor disgrace Baumea by voting against our opponents. I myself standing here is a son of Nairi. Every Mampusi native living in the kingdom of Mampubu is a son and daughter from Nairi. If Nairi is displeased over something, he would invite you and warn you to refrain from such. But not the case where people take money and come to this constituency and rely that they are from Nairi. It's not true. Nairi hasn't sent anyone. And we also want to point out that those...
Away from that, Minister for Communication Eslo Wusue-Kufu has called on residents of Savlego in the Northern region to trust the New Patriotic Party for their development by giving the party 4 more years come December 7. According to the minister, who is also MP for Ablekuma West, the NPP government has in the last 3.5 years brought relief and significant improvement to the lives of Savlego residents through policies such as free SHS, 1 district, 1 factory, amongst others. This, she claims, contradicts the bad record of the NDC in the region over the past 24 years. She made these comments whilst addressing the NPP Women's Wing in the region.
For 24 years, the people of Savlego trusted NDC to develop their community and give them